Now, WBOC News at 10 on Fox 21.
Good evening, I'm Chris Weimer. This is WBOC News at 10 on Fox 21. Your 10 minutes of nonstop news and weather starts now. All right, we got some breaking news out of Kent County tonight. Police are on the scene of a shooting in Harrington. Back locally now, Sussex County officials did not vote on a proposed new development near Roxana. We were keeping our eye on a meeting that was held today. Open farmland that now sits just north of Route 54 right beside Derrickson Creek could soon be known as Old Mill Landing. Some hope for drivers who frequently cross the Bay Bridge. Making headlines tonight, another busy day on Capitol Hill. Dover will not have a new police chief until next year. A police chief search committee met today in Dover, decided to invite several of the 6 remaining candidates back for a second interview. 7 years in prison is the sentence for a man who used a baseball bat to attack Larry Dodd. He was the president of the Wicomico County Council. According to court documents, Ian Lundberg was sentenced earlier this week for his role in a dispute over their dogs last June. What a difference 24 hours makes. It's been a cold and breezy day on Delmarva as we go live now into Dover, our Bay Health Kent campus camera. In your consumer news tonight, chances are some of the holiday gifts you bought online are still on the way. So how do you keep package thieves from stealing those presents from your porch? All right, Dan, thank you. Let's take a look at tonight's holiday house photos, shall we? Let's take a look at Ocean Pines Library. This is their window display. And now let's take a moment to thank some of you who've helped our Bless Our Children campaign. Every year we make sure every child has a present to open on Christmas morning, thanks to people like you.
WBOC's Chris Weimer joins us now in the Newsplex. And Chris, people who live nearby say they had no idea this was happening.
Yeah, Todd, you hear the term human trafficking, you think of maybe big cities. The people we spoke with today say you don't think of Smyrna.
Now, WBOC News at 10 on Fox 21.
Good evening, I'm Chris Weimer. This is WBOC News at 10 on Fox 21. Your 10 minutes of nonstop news and weather starts now. Topping your 10 at 10 tonight, the community in Georgetown put together a live nativity scene after a new town policy prohibits unattended displays like the normal nativity scene. WBOC's Jane Chaco shows us how the community is not protesting the town, but celebrating what they say is the reason for the season.
An angel in the sky. Chaco, WBOC News, Delmarva's news leader.
The live nativity scene will be in the circle for the next 13 days until Christmas Eve. All right, we got some breaking news out of Kent County tonight. Police are on the scene of a shooting in Harrington. Delaware State Police say it happened off of Diamond Court. It was around 6:30 tonight. The initial call came in, they say. Police say one man was shot. That man has been taken to the hospital. There's no word on his condition, as again, people are right at the scene, police that is. Right now, the investigation is in its early stages. We will be sure to bring you more information as we're able to gather it there in Harrington. People who live in Smyrna say they're surprised to learn a human trafficking operation was taking place right under their noses. On Monday, James Walls and Shay Shen were arrested after a 2-year-long investigation into them and what was taking place at the spa they ran. Investigators say the Kiki Spa was really a sex spa run by James Walls and Shay Shen. The pair were arrested after detectives raided their home and business. Walls and Shen are accused of trafficking victims into the country illegally and using them as sex slaves.
You wouldn't think it would happen around where kids live at.
You would never think that here, of all places, something like that would happen.
We reached out to the Smyrna Police Department asking for some answers as to how this might have happened in Smyrna. While the special investigator did not have a specific answer, he did note Smyrna is not far from the I-95 corridor, a highly traveled route for people who are trafficked. Well, chilly night on Delmarva tonight. Let's look live now at Rehoboth Beach. Our Boardwalk Plaza hotel camera definitely feels like winter out there tonight. It'll feel like winter tomorrow as well. Chief Meteorologist Dan Satterfield in the Storm Tracker Weather Center. Dan.
The clouds come back Friday. More about that coming up.
Some hope for drivers who frequently cross the Bay Bridge. Maryland's Transportation Authority says it is working to finish construction by May of 2020. That means the right lane of the westbound span will remain closed 24/7 so that crews can work. MDTA says its aggressive goal to finish next year could be pushed back. Bad weather could push that construction back. Maryland Electric Company wants to help bring the internet to rural communities across Maryland's eastern shore. Choptank Electric Cooperative is working on a broadband initiative. The company says its customers tell them a lack of internet service prevents them from selling homes, developing small businesses. Choptank says it's already got some of the infrastructure to get the project started, which would not need state funding. It says they are also looking into trying to compete for grant funding from the FCC. Making headlines tonight, another busy day on Capitol Hill with the FISA report hearing this morning, and lawmakers in the House Judiciary Committee tonight to go over the draft articles of impeachment Democrats unveiled on Tuesday. Lauren Blanchard is in Washington with what happens next.
The two articles of impeachment in Washington. Lauren Blanchard, Fox News.
Reports say the assailants in yesterday's deadly shooting in New Jersey targeted the kosher supermarket where the violence unfolded. Fox News senior correspondent Rick Leventhal is in Jersey City with the latest.
This remains
in Jersey City. Rick Leventhal, Fox News.
That wraps up our 10 at 10. We have more news, sports, and weather still ahead. It's the time of year you got to protect your porch. Coming up, some tips to help keep that package safe from thieves. WBOC News at 10 will continue after this.
Police say the victims were used for prostitution at the Kiki Spa.
WBOC's Chris Weimer joins us now in the Newsplex. And Chris, people who live nearby say they had no idea this was happening.
Yeah, Todd, you hear the term human trafficking, you think of maybe big cities. The people we spoke with today say you don't think of Smyrna.
At first glance, there's really not too much to take note of at this tiny red brick business that sits along East Commerce Street in Smyrna. If anything, you may think it charming, but for at least the past 2 years, investigators say it was anything but.
Never think that here, of all places, something like that would happen.
That something was the Kiki Spa, which investigators say was really a sex spa run by James Walls and Shay Shen. On Monday, the pair were arrested after detectives raided their home and business, the culmination of a 2-year investigation. Walls and Shen are accused of trafficking victims into the country illegally and using them as sex slaves. Brandon Williams lives nearby. Williams was stunned to find out what was going on.
I always used to say hi to the lady. She was always nice, and you would never think something like that would happen around here.
And following the shock, the realization that things like this, victims forced into sex for money, are more than just big city problems.
You think this stuff would happen in Philly or New York or somewhere like that where it's way more populated, but you don't see that happening. It's obviously we go past things every day that we don't know anything about.
How many more people are there that those two are working with in this whole situation? There could be way more that we have no idea about yet, and that's kind of crazy to think about, knowing that kind of stuff's going on in your community.
We reached out to the Smyrna Police Department asking for some answers as to how this might have happened in Smyrna. While the special investigator did not have a specific answer, he did note Smyrna is not far from the I-95 corridor, a highly traveled route for people who are trafficked.
Hear that? That is the sound of hope. Okay, maybe that's a bit of an oversell. Let's start over.
My name is Garrett Stengel. I am 17.
17-year-old Garrett Stengel of Millville, Delaware, isn't buried in his smartphone. Unless he's huddled over his typewriter, Garrett generally walks through life with his head up. He listens well, and he looks you in the eye. He wears a button-down shirt with a tie and a vest, not because we came to visit. His mom, Kendra, says he just likes the look. Call him old-fashioned. You can.
Yeah.
He'll smile.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. You gotta appreciate how far humanity has come.
Garrett likes the way things were. He's an antique enthusiast.
A 1970 Honda CL350. This I picked up for $2 at a yard sale. That's actually an antique right there.
Enthusiast.
This is my favorite right here. This is a Remington Quiet Rider. It was made in 1957. Yes, and this is a Royal Arrow. That's from 1948. It actually started when I was like 8 or whatever. Whenever whenever I started watching the History Channel, antique style lights on it and stuff like that.
It hasn't stopped.
How old is that lamp, Mom?
That's just Garrett's speed.
Extremely smart, very tenacious, doesn't really take no for an answer, but pretty passionate.
Some people will just say, just take it, you know.
And by the way, if you are going to call him old-fashioned, he prefers you do it the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, hold on, wait for it. See, that works. It's just more understandable. You know, it's like, I don't really got a good cell phone plan either. So it's like...
And while Garrett's energy and excitement might make you smile, there's a deeper takeaway, an appreciation for the things many have long since cast aside. A reminder that old technology can still be old reliable.
When have you ever heard of a software update for a typewriter? You know, you never.
So maybe in some small way, this is the sound of hope. Hope that in the age of smartphones and instant information, not all is lost. Chris Weimer, WBOC News.
When I was a young boy, my dad and I shared a love of sports, a good thrill, and of course, Top Gun. He loved planes and took me to air shows. He was my maverick, but he also loved a stiff drink. He died when I was 14. Sometimes a story is just a story. Sometimes it's more.
This aircraft is fueled over 9,000 pounds of fuel. It is your tank of gas, so please do enjoy yourself.
When I got the invitation to fly with the Navy Blue Angels, I saw my shot and I took it. I was briefed, signed a waiver, and learned the hick maneuver. An odd but incredibly effective way to handle G's without passing out. Then I geared up, ready to fly, with a special guest that would join.
How you doing, sir?
My leader was Lieutenant Brandon Hempler, an extremely talented pilot with nearly 2,200 flight hours. And so it began.
Gear and flaps are coming up. We're flying, obviously. Ready, hit it. All right, take a look out the side. Woo! Relax, isn't that awesome? Beautiful.
Lieutenant Hempler took me through a series of maneuvers, some high G's.
We're going to go up to 7.5 G's for about 180 degrees of turn.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, Chris, squeeze those legs. Ready, hit it. How you doing? Keep working hard. How you doing? I'm good. 7.4 G's.
Others that spun my world around.
Let's roll on our back. Take a look at our smoke.
Lieutenant Kempler couldn't have been more casual about it either, but I was in a battle with my stomach as our world got turned upside down. The final maneuver, a fast 360-degree revolution called an aileron roll.
There, that was it. It's over.
It finished me. All in all, totally worth it. And the sweetest part, I wasn't alone. Sometimes a story's just a story.
Yeah, I got a good one.
Oh, that's a good one. Ready?
Sometimes it's more. Thanks for being my wingman today, Dad. Oh, and happy Father's Day. Chris Weimer, WBOC News.